After a promising start to the road trip in Washington, the Cardinals ended with a thud in Chicago against their arch rivals. Now, the Redbirds return home to Busch Stadium and put the National League's best home record on the line against Bryce Harper and the new-look Philadelphia Phillies. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Tonight from Busch Stadium, 7-game homestand kicks off, and it's the first of 3, the Philadelphia Phillies and St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to the broadcast booth here at Busch Stadium. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes with us as well. At one point, the Cardinals had won 10 of 11. Now they come into this game having dropped 4 straight. So they're trying to get back on the winning ways.
Very tough series in Chicago, but the Cardinals have played very well at home. This will be a good test. The Philadelphia Phillies have made themselves better in 2019.
And we'd like to think that the Cardinals have done that as well. So you've got 2 of the best in the National League squaring off in Paul Goldschmidt and Bryce Harper.
2 big sluggers. Each of them make their team contenders. That's what I feel about Goldschmidt and Harper. On the Phillies side, we know that, Danny, you've always loved Bryce Harper, but the Phillies loved him even more. They signed him for 13 years, 6-time All-Star, still very young, younger than Goldschmidt. He was the 2015 National League MVP. Second in that race was the Cardinals' Paul Goldschmidt. He also is a 6-time All-Star. He's finished in the MVP race in the top 3 times, so he certainly changes the Cardinals lineup, each of them with tremendous power.
Should be a lot of fun. The Gateway Arch, Busch Stadium, back home. Does it mean good home cooking for St. Louis? They've been great so far here at Busch. The Phils, the Cardinals, comes your way next. Cardinals tonight, game 1 of a 3-game series with Jim Hayes. Rick Horton here in the booth. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Beautiful night, 75 degrees, and Ricky, nice to be back home.
It is nice to be back home, especially after the rough weekend in Chicago. It is nice to have the home cooking here, the blue skies, and the home crowd cheering you on as you take the field.
So the Cardinals begin this homestand with Miles Michaelis. He's on the mound tonight for St. Louis. It's been a so-so start for Miles, 3-2, 4.73 ERA. Vince Velasquez, 1-1, 2.73 ERA going for the Phils. Phils come in 19-14, the Cardinals 20-14.
Very similar teams in a lot of ways. We talked in the open about how each team went out and got a slugger. I mean, an MVP candidate, top drawer player. The Phillies, of course, got Bryce Harper, and that was an expensive get. Cardinals traded a couple of players, couple of potential stars in Carson Kelly and Luke Weaver to get Paul Goldschmidt, but both teams I think now have the ability to get to that next level. There's the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Miles Michaelis.
Gabe Kapler, it was an interesting first year at the helm. A guy that follows very closely sabermetrics, and some of the moves early on were done because of sabermetrics, and he took a little heat in Philly. They collapsed towards the end of the season, and now he's back for his second year. It's a new look, the GMC lineup for the Phillies. McCutchen at the top, Gene Segura, the former Brewer and Mariner, Bryce Harper signed as a free agent, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto, they picked him up from Miami, Odubel Herrera is here, Cesar Hernandez, Michael Franco, and Vince Velasquez batting ninth.
Well, we talked about them being very similar. The records are close, runs per game close, and their run differential is the same, plus 22. Gabe Kapler, you mentioned last year in his rookie year. I think the hardest thing for him, Dan, is he had an early-on problem where he ran out of pitchers, and it became kind of an embarrassing situation for him. But I think he handled it well, moved on, and the Phillies were really a good team for a long stretch. They couldn't hold on, and I think the idea is the new players they have, the idea is to help them hold on longer, even into October.
Here's Andrew McCutchen, the former Pirate, San Francisco Giant. He's with the Yankees, and now he's with the Philadelphia Phillies. He's had a very nice career. He's got 5 home runs to start this season and batting .248. 2 balls and no strikes. Michaelis comes in to this start, leading the Cardinals with 40 innings pitched. Love to see that. Guys go deeper into games. Durability. Can they get to 200 innings? And Miles did that a year ago.
Boy, he did a lot a year ago. Tremendous record. He was up among the Cy Young Award finalists. And he was a guy you could count on every 5th day to get deep into the game.
Take a look at Rick Horton's Toyota key to the game.
Yeah, those comments lead right to it. I think the idea tonight is for Miles Michaelis to reassert himself as the Cardinals' #1. And I say reassert because that's what he was last year. And certainly has the stuff to do it.
It's sharply to third. Taken there by Matt Carpenter. There's one away. Cardinals defense behind Miles Michaelis here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Ozuna, Bader, and Martinez in the outfield. Around the horn presented by Dobbs. Carpenter, DeYoung, Wong, and Goldschmidt along the infield, and Molina behind the plate. And you think about the 4-game losing streak of the Cardinals. Here's Gene Segura. Very good start average-wise. 3 of the 4 games certainly were winnable games. First game in that losing streak was against Washington. Couple of errors led to runs. Wound up being a 1-run game. Then Hendricks in game 1 for Chicago. And not only, and I'm not going to take anything away from his performance. He was masterful. But boy, did the Cardinals hit into some brutal luck in that game. There were some hard hit balls, but right at defenders, and that's just the way it goes. And then Saturday, Mike Schilt rolled the dice, pitching around to load him up for a journeyman catcher that hits a grand slam and ties it up.
Yeah, a lot of things did not go the Cardinals' way, and Kyle Hendricks, his game, 81 pitches, 63 strikes. So he does get the credit for at least allowing the Cardinals to put the ball in play and get those quick outs. They didn't hit into good luck, but only 18 balls out of the strike zone in 9 innings. That's phenomenal.
So the base hit into right. Here's Harper. I don't know if you're getting booed because you're hated by a fan base or just you're really good and they respect you, and that's one way to show their appreciation.
Well, you always have the option and the opportunity to receive it the way you want to receive it.
That's right. A 13-year contract, and he's in year 1. Bryce Harper at the plate. He's hitting .233 with 6 home runs. His last 14 games, his average is actually under 150. It's 143. But still, he's going to draw your attention. There's no question about that. I don't think, Ricky, the Phillies make the deal for 13 years with Bryce Harper unless they feel the DH is coming to the National League.
Well, I mean, I think that may be part of it, but I think the other part of it is he's so young. He's only 26. There are guys that get to the big leagues when they're 26. So I think you have to assume that he's a very unique physical specimen, and you hope that he's going to be healthy for a long time. And you also hope to get a lot of value in the early parts of those years to make it worthwhile. You get to a couple World Series with him, you'll say it's worth it.
Phillies won 6 times on their just completed 9-game homestand. And like the Cardinals, as Ricky said, kind of mirrors of each other, these two teams, and they've struggled a bit on the road. And Harper lines it into a double play. A double play, and the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Matt Carpenter, last 2 games in Chicago, was 5 for 10, so maybe he's starting to turn things around a little bit. Average now at 214. Goldschmidt, DeYoung, then Ozuna, Martinez, Molina, Wong, Bader, Michaelis, the GMC lineup for Mike Schultz Club. Vince Velasquez, a record of 1-1, a 2.73 ERA. He's got good stuff.
No doubt when he came to the big leagues, actually originally with the Houston Astros, but then traded to the Phillies, he had a very good start to the season in 2016, and he had some injury issues in 17. He finished 9-12 last year with the Phillies.
Hyundai pitch arsenal for Velasquez.
A ton of fastballs, and he's up there with Lance Lynn in terms of how many fastballs he throws. And we've been around Lance Lynn a long time, and we know he's one fastball after another.
It's a ball and a strike. So as I mentioned, Carpenter 5 for his last 10. Prior to that, he had been 5 for 40 in the 11 previous games. And talking with those around the Cardinals, they feel that it's getting healthier, mechanically also getting settled at the plate. There's a strike, 1-2. Velasquez, 3 runs or fewer in all 5 of his starts, but he has completed 6 innings on just 1 occasion. And the 1-2. And a fly ball lifted down the left field line and out of play. Round the horn presented by Dobbs. Phillies defensively tonight. Get a look at their squad. McCutchen, Herrera, and Harper in the outfield. Franco, Segura, Hernandez, Hoskins on the infield, and JT Realmuto, outstanding catch and throw man, is behind the plate. And Bryce Harper could play center, and when he was initially getting into pro ball, also was a catcher at one point, but he'll be the everyday right fielder for a long time, you would assume.
Yeah, and you know, it isn't just getting Harper. We talked about the other pieces that they went out and got, and you're talking about a former MVP in 2013 and Andrew McCutchen in left field, and you've got the other 2 pieces in Realmuto and Segura up the middle. I mean, you've got a whole different kind of lineup here, and it's almost as if last year, you know, you 4 are really having good years. We're going to get 5 other guys to play with you.
That is pulled fair, and playing there on the line was Hoskins, and takes a hit away from Matt Carpenter.
Pretty good play and good coverage by Hoskins. He didn't panic. I do believe Carpenter is starting to get closer and closer.
Phillies come in having dropped 7 of 12 away from their home ballpark this year. And they'll play their next 6 here in the state of Missouri. At 3 right now with the Cardinals, and then they'll be at Kansas City in interleague play for Gabe Kapler.
There's 2 reasons why a pitcher would be in love with his fastball and want to throw it about 80% or more of the time.
That's popped up by Goldschmidt. Realmuto going near the screen, out of play.
The first reason would be you have a plus fastball that you love and you can't wait to throw it, and you may throw it a couple of different ways, a little sink, a little run. The second reason would be you're not very happy with your off-speed stuff. And so it's interesting as we look at Velasquez, and there's the high fastball usage throughout Major League Baseball. Freddie Peralta, almost 80%. Jay Happ on that list, and Lance Lynn, of course, who's now with Texas. But Velasquez top 4 in terms of fastball usage. And I would guess he's just happy with his fastball. He's throwing it in the mid-90s.
That's inside. I think that fan may have taken that ball off the top of his head or his face. But he's smiling down there. He's all right. The 2-1 pitch. And it's 2-2. Goldschmidt, kind of like Carpenter. Club is still waiting for him to get it going.
Well, I almost think they might get going at the same time. I mean, if Carpenter can hit in front of Goldschmidt, that's going to make him better, Danny.
And the 2-2.
Almost think you press more if you're Goldschmidt hitting with nobody on base because you're thinking, okay, I got to drive the ball. So you have to hit a home run here to be a difference maker instead of just hitting the ball the other way. We know Goldschmidt's very good at doing that.
Chance to drive one here. Gets underneath it. Shortstop Segura going out to make the catch, and that's out number 2. And the batter is Paul DeYoung. Homered again last night late. 6 home runs now for the Cardinals shortstop, and he's hitting .336.
And he hits a lot of extra base hits after the 6th inning. He hits them late, and of course that was too late if you look at the score at the time, but still good to at least finish on a good note in Chicago. And DeYoung has really been steady, Dan, for most of the year. The average has not really dipped much, and he leads the National League in doubles.
Also, I truly believe he's taken a massive step forward with his defense. Really good.
All that work in January and February down in Florida with Jose Oquendo and others. Colton Wong always down early.
And DeYoung now living down there full time in the offseason. He'll come back, though, occasionally to the Midwest in those cold, wintry hunting days. He loves to hunt and fish. So if he's not doing that, he's playing a little baseball down in Florida. And the 1-1.
All work and no play, right?
That's right.
Although if your work is play, I don't know how you handle that expression.
How do we handle it?
We
mess around a lot.
That's a good point. I'm going to have to think about that some more, Dan.
It's a pretty good gig, isn't it?
It is a
Don't
great
tell
gig.
anybody.
All play and no work makes Jack a dull. I don't know. It doesn't make sense the other way around, does it?
No, it doesn't. That's taken low. Laz Diaz is behind the plate, calling the balls and strikes. Jeff Nelson, crew chief down at first. Jason Visconti at second. Corey Blazer at third. And the 3-1 is a bit low, and it's a 2-out walk.
I think the walks are going to go up for DeYoung, too, because the strikeouts are going down. Striking out at a much lower rate in 2019 than the past 2 seasons.
More selective, I would have to say. What's interesting, too, about Velasquez, it's not like he's throwing the fastball more against a lefty or a righty. I mean, he's coming right at you. 73% of the time with a left-handed batter, 70% of the time with right-handers. That's fouled back.
I still would say he is varying a bit how he throws that fastball. We saw a sinker down and in that he threw to Goldschmidt. He just tried to kind of turn it over a little bit, had downward movement to it, more of a two-seamer variety, was 92, and he also rode one up in the zone to Carpenter, and so he's got the different looks. And again, that's what I thought Lance Lynn was terrific at when he was in the Cardinal rotation and pitching so well, using his fastball differently.
Now on the flip side, the guy at the plate, he sees the most breaking pitches of anybody in baseball.
And there's a reason for that. And the reason is he can flat out mash a fastball. 39% of the pitches that Ozuna sees are breaking balls, and they're going to see if he will chase or not. They'll test it.
So the average against Velasquez on the fastball is right around 195, 200. So he's had success with that pitch. There's a reason why he goes to it as much as he does. He was part of the Ken Giles deal, and Giles, former hard thrower with the Phillies, then Houston, and now with Toronto. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, part of that, too, when you have more fastball usage, something else is not being used as much, and that's the changeup. Not to say that he's completely ditched it, but the usage as opposed to the last 3 years, way down. 1-2 pitch. Get out of play.
You don't use it, it gets rusty. It's amazing to me the number of pitchers, and I'll even say this with Adam Wainwright. When Adam Wainwright came to the big leagues, he had an outstanding changeup, and then just stopped using it when he went to the bullpen, understandably. And then maybe 3 or 4 years into his career, I heard the conversation, well, he's developing a changeup. No, he had one. He just didn't use it, and he's, I would say, rediscovering something he used to do very, very well.
Had times on Velasquez here, and he's not overly quick to the plate. However, the guy behind the plate, in terms of pop-up times, is the best in baseball. He's got a good arm. JT Realmuto, Phillies traded for him, got him from Miami.
So the pop time is pop to the glove, pop to the second baseman's glove or shortstop's glove. And the quicker that is, the harder it is to steal. The Cardinals leading the National League in steals.
And that's out of play. You can see it, the high leg kick that he has coming to the plate. But if your catcher can make up for it, what a difference maker that could be.
What a difficult thing that is for a pitcher and a pitching coach when you're talking to a player about his time to the plate, because you don't want to mess up his delivery to the plate, and you can be quick to the plate and give up a lot of doubles, and then you'd say, so what?
It's 4 foul balls in a row by Marcell Ozuna, and now 2-2.
The point being, Dan, is you have to have split attention to the runner at first base, split attention to how do you control the running game. But when you throw the ball home, you've got to be committed.
Yep.
You have to be full on. I'm going to do it the way I do it best.
8th pitch of the at-bat right here. And we'll see a 9th. Good at-bat here by Marcell Ozuna. And already 25 pitches delivered.
And you don't have to worry about the leg kick now.
Take off and go. Don't get picked off, though, Ricky. Come on.
No, exactly.
And there he goes. And the 3-2 is popped up. Realmuto in foul territory and makes the catch. Cardinals strand a runner. We played one. And there's no score in game 1. Matt Carpenter starting to pick it up the last couple of games, and we check in with Jim.
Yeah, Dan, no question it's been a slow start for Matt Carpenter, but he may be ready to break out. Matt told me that he's feeling a lot better of late. He's 5 for his last 7. He said he's just trying to find a comfort level at the plate, and it's getting closer to what I want. Carpenter said he isn't thinking about last season when his start was much, much slower, and for a pretty long stretch. Carpenter told me, I'm light years ahead of that, and typically when the weather warms up, that's when I warm up. Hopefully, I'm about to go on a nice little run. Dan, he has looked a lot better at the plate lately.
Yeah, he's looked better, and the numbers have been there, and the Cardinals need him.
When he's not hitting well, he does a lot of kind of the same at-bat. He takes pitches that are kind of on the corner. He's not really comfortable. Even as good as his plate recognition is, there are times where he gets called out on strikes a lot. And when he's not hitting well, I think he's maybe just a tad off on his strike zone awareness, but he also flies out to left. The bat angle's a little bit loopy for him and gets underneath it. But boy, when he's locked in, he can crush a baseball.
Best example of that would be that series that he had in Chicago last year at Wrigley.
Oh my! We
could get him out.
We could have used that this weekend, by the way.
Rhys Hoskins at the plate. Hoskins with 10 home runs, and he's driven in 11. And that has been a little bit of an issue at the start of this season for Miles Mikolas. the home runs allowed. 8 home runs allowed prior to tonight in 40 innings, and that's half his total from all of last year in 200-plus innings.
Not just Miles, the Cardinals pitching staff has been giving up home runs at alarming rates and leading the National League. But if you want to feel a little better about it, you check out the Baltimore Orioles staff. They've given up 20 more. 20.
This is Martinez, and he makes the catch near the right field line. Well, that's alarming, and they're in a ballpark that is unforgiving for a pitcher.
And that's part of the reason that number is so high, but it certainly wouldn't be the reason why the Cardinals number is so high.
And that's my point.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery here. I think if you try to get at the why for Miles Mikolas and the rest of the staff, the simplest answer is just bad execution. You take the home run that Wainwright gave up to Taylor Davis, the backup catcher in Chicago, which was the home run that turned that game around. Should have gone the Cardinals' way. Just a mistake. It happens. But that was Waka just missing with a cutter. And execution. That's really what it's all about.
And a breaking pitch taken a little bit low. JT Realmuto, 279 with 4 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Just off the plate. So the Cardinals swept over the weekend on the north side of Chicago. And with that, they also lost the division lead. But back home, where the Cardinals are 12-4 this year.
Yeah, no do-overs in the big leagues, Dan. It counts. You have to live with it. You have to wear it. But you get to move on and play again the next day.
It's the beauty of this game, and that's a strike rung up by the first base umpire, Jeff Nelson, as Realmuto is headed to first. 3-2 now.
As if that was a strike anyway.
And the next to the Phillies catcher. Breaking pitch and struck him out. First strikeout for Miles Mikolas.
Realmuto does not like how that at-bat ended. There's a breaking pitch, 3-2. Curveball just hitting that outside corner, or maybe a bit beyond. Well framed by Yadi.
And there's a strike to Odubel Herrera. It's going to be hard to ever forget the matchup that he had Jordan Hicks last year. That was the game that Hicks hit 105 on the gun.
Hard for who to forget?
Well, I know it's going to be hard for him, Hicks, and me.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure who the universe of people you were talking about are, but certainly Herrera would like to forget about it. I'm sure he's reminded of that all the time.
He was so slow and deliberate in stepping out of the box, and you could see the agitation from the fans, the players, and Jordan Hicks. 2 balls and 1 strike. And he hits it the other way, slicing towards the corner, and a foul ball. It's a Sunday afternoon, and that pitch at 104. But between these pitches, and there's 105, Herrera would just step out, readjust the batting gloves. We actually at one point got a watch on him, and I think it was close to 40 seconds.
So what he did on that strike 3 is he swung and missed at a fastball that hit the plate. Think about it. Big league hitter swinging at a fastball that hit the plate. Not a breaking ball, not a changeup, a fastball. That means he had no idea where that ball was going, and the great sink that Jordan Hicks had. If I was Odubel Herrera, this is how I would remember that moment. I had the opportunity of being at the plate when the fastest pitches in the history of the universe were thrown.
I would think about it that I walked away.
Okay.
In the air, down the left field line, Ozuna over and out of play.
it's more. I mean, it's more rare, than walking on the moon. For goodness sakes, the guy got 105 twice in that at bat. That had never been done. And who knows if it'll be done again? I would guess it would be.
Herrera had 255 last year. A career 279 hitter in the major leagues. And the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Miles Michaelis. 2 in the game. Jose Martinez. We love his coffee. It's coming up next. If you can't catch a game on television, you can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Cardinals. It's presented by T-Mobile. Beautiful night here in St. Louis. Understand that rain is coming in. We're going to have rain later tonight, tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. But you know what, Ricky? We'll get these games in, so come on down.
We'll get it done. You bet we will.
All right, now the big question. We have tried, brewed the Jose Martinez coffee. Your thoughts?
I love it. We got the light roast, by the way. There's also dark roast back there, and it's Primos Cafecitos. And they were kind enough to send it to the booth for you and I, because we were commenting on a broadcast that we hadn't had it yet. Well, we can't say that now.
No.
I love it. How about you?
I loved it. Of course, I'm almost jumping out of the booth with the caffeine injection, but that's okay. No, I'm not, Ricky. It's great.
Your calls will be stellar.
Just jumping out of the booth when I realized you were my partner tonight. Here's a 1-1. You actually smiled at that one.
Yeah, I did. I
Got a
hate
little
to
rise
admit it.
out of you. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
All right. 1-2 the count. I asked Jose in spring training about the coffee, and I said, why are you doing it? And, what's the importance of it for you? He said, well, number one, I love coffee.
All right.
So it's a passion. I always like to taste new coffees. And then he said, maybe if I can make a little money off a business venture, that goes back to family and friends in Venezuela.
Right.
And we know, and hopefully most in our audience know, the tensions there that have risen to a dangerously high level.
And that's an ever-changing situation,
yes,
too, that he is very attuned to.
Here's a 1-2. Cardinals had a minor league catcher from Venezuela that I was telling you the story in spring. I gave him a ride home. We both were at the same barber shop, and
right,
he had called an Uber, and I said, well, no, just hop in. I'll take you home. And we started talking about being from Venezuela. And it was unbelievable what his mom and dad do for a living, the hard work that they put in, and the lack of money that they have. I mean, it was something, a couple of bucks a month, literally. And I asked him, I said, you're playing for life or death? He said, absolutely. This is more than a game for me. And he said, every check I get, I send it home.
Really sobering, isn't it?
I think Ortega was Dennis Ortega. It is sobering. I mean, you think about that, and it just put it in perspective. I mean, with all the fans that go down there to enjoy themselves as they should, we enjoy ourselves, and this young man is fighting for his career and ultimately a paycheck to feed his family.
I will say that it's one of the treasures that I had by spending several years in the minor leagues, and is to be around people from different countries, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different races, of course, and different languages, and I just think it gives you a great understanding of the world. It's not so homogeneous in the baseball world, and I think that's a good thing. You learn to compete together, work together, understand each other, and I just think it's a terrific way to do it. And I'm grateful, Dan, that I had the opportunity to do that, to have friends from Venezuela and from Dominican Republic, to play in the Dominican Republic. It's just very meaningful to me.
It was an 8-pitch at bat by Jose Martinez, and now Yadi Molina with a runner at first base, and the leadoff walk by Jose. Jeff Albert is an interesting story, as this is lifted in the air. Deep center. And it stays in the ballpark. Tagging up Jose Martinez from first to second. Aggressive base running and good base running by Martinez, and puts himself in scoring position.
Great decision making by Cafecito on a ball that was crushed to center. He started to go thinking, well, maybe I should get that extra base. No, he's going to catch it. So I'll get back and tag up. And he ran very hard. He's a good base runner. I'm not going to say he's as fast as he was before all of his several, and I mean several, knee surgeries. But he still knows what he's doing on the base paths. And I think he's becoming a better defender in right.
Here's Colton Wong. Average at .248, 4 home runs. He's driven in 16.
And that's not just the coffee talking.
No. But we'd like some more if you want to send it. To further your point, Jeff Albert, the Cardinals hitting coach, is bilingual and speaks Spanish and English. And I said, so did you take that in school? And he said, no. He said, I was working in Spanish speaking countries, threw myself right into it. And I said, well, what's the best way to learn? He said, watching television. And
yep.
they've got the subtitles on the programs in English, and then all of a sudden you throw yourself into the conversations. And he said some of them were embarrassing for me because I wasn't making sense or saying the wrong words. And that's how I got better. There's a fly ball again to center field.
Well, it takes a little courage to try and fail. And that would be a pretty good, pretty good analogy to a lot of things in life. I mean, you try, you figure it out, you fail, you get better as somebody helps you. And now you're able to coach at the big league level. I mean, think about this, Dan. Not just speaking in another language, but coaching in another language as Bader gets the intentional walk. The nuances of what it must be to describe a swing in your second language.
That's right. Well, I love the story you told me multiple times, though. Maybe some of our viewers haven't heard it. When you were coaching in pro ball and you are semi-bilingual, I think is the best way to put it.
That's right. I mean, I understand myself, even if others don't. But yeah, but I did a whole morning's worth of workouts with American and Latin players at Instructional League down in Florida when I was with the Indians in Spanish, just right from the get-go, no English. And the American players are looking at me like, what's going on? And I would answer them in Spanish. And we went on for 4 hours. And by the time the morning was over, I sat them all in the bleachers and I said, tell me about your experience this morning. They said, well, you guys were laughing at us. And I said, no, we weren't. And they said, oh, I felt like it was. Oh, really? And they said, so what else? He said, well, we didn't know we felt stupid. We didn't know what was going on. We needed help and we couldn't get it. And I said, well, I want you to remember everything that you just said and understand you've got teammates dealing with that same thing every single day. And it was a pretty powerful moment. Several of those guys ended up pitching in the big leagues down the road. But, you just need to kind of grasp the fact that not everybody's starting from the same spot as you in the minor leagues.
0-2 pitch to Michaelis is fouled back. So the intentional pass to Bader. Runners at first and second. Third walk handed out by Vince Velasquez, who, as we talked about, does not go deep at all into games. And he's got 41 pitches already. But it's also a byproduct of third time through a lineup. Teams are hitting last year almost 500 against him.
And maybe a byproduct of the 70% fastballs, too. There's not a lot of guessing you have to do against him. And you have a way of just being able to foul the ball off because you're not worried about protecting. You're just gearing up for 95, and you're not going to swing and miss at the hard slider. And I think that's part of the reason.
Dating back to the All-Star game of 2018, third time through a lineup, the on-base percentage .489 against Velasquez. That pitch in the dirt.
Michael is just trying to put the ball in play somewhere. The outfield is shallow, as they should be. can tell he's just trying to punch the ball right now. He's not taking the big full swing.
Outfield very shallow for Miles Mikolas, and another 1-2 pitch. Right down the middle. First strikeout for Vince Velasquez, and the Cardinals have stranded 3 thus far in 2 innings. Game 1 of this 3-game series, no score. Back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Kia, give it everything. Best home winning percentage in the National League. The Cardinals and Dodgers both 12-4, then the Cubs and Phillies. Miles Mikolas, in the first 6 batters that he saw tonight, 4 of them saw a 3-ball count. And remember, at one point last year, a stretch of 39 consecutive batters without a 3-ball count. It seemed like every time out, once he settled in at the beginning of the year, I mean, he was locked in with the strike zone. Cesar Hernandez, and he looks at a strike.
And the point I made at the key of the game moment earlier on, Dan, talking about Miles Mikolas reasserting himself as the number 1. I think the importance of that is it's awful nice.
That's a fair ball, and Goldschmidt steps on the bag.
Hernandez not so sure, but he is out number 1. Mikolas, of course, as we look at his record in Japan, 31-13, 2.18 ERA. Look how good he's been with the Cardinals. So reassert, because he was the guy. He was number 1 for the Cardinals, no question, a year ago. 18-4, 21-6 overall as a Cardinal with an ERA at 3.14. But I think every team that is going in a good direction, Dan, has to have a starter that they can count on to win every 5th day. So, hey, he's pitching today, we're going to win. He's pitching today, we're going to win. Now, that's to me what a number 1 is. And if I were to ask you who the number 1 for the Cardinals is this year,
Ozuna with the catch. Nice play in left. And who might that be?
I don't know. I think that's the point. Here's the long drive to left. Ozuna's defense is improving over the last couple of weeks. I thought he was throwing better in Chicago, and he took a good route to get this baseball. Certainly taking pride in it. He's working at it.
Mike Schilt talked about that in his office today, and Jose Martinez.
So let me ask you the question that I was posing there. Who do you think has been who's the number 1 for the Cardinals right now?
I'd have to say the guy on the mound, just because of the track record a year ago, most recent history. But we've all, seen that at any point in time, one of these guys can go out and throw a gem.
Could be Flaherty, could be Waka. Certainly Wainwright's been that in the past. Yeah, so you have that kind of, well, everybody's been okay, but who's the guy? Oh, he's pitching today, we're going to win. I think it's helpful to have that guy.
Yeah.
Going into a series.
Your stopper, your ace.
Right.
Here's a 1-1. 1-2 the count. Velasquez 1 for 7. Mikolas has given up a base hit. That was Segura. Second man he saw, and there's Colton Wong, and he'll make the catch. 9-pitch inning. Coming up for the Cardinals, the top of the lineup as we move to the home half of the 3rd, and there's no score. So the Blues, they force a Game 7, and it might be just a little busy down here in St. Louis tomorrow night. The Stars and the Blues, Game 7, and the post-game show following our Cardinals post-game show of Blues hockey coming up tomorrow night. For God's sakes, please. Just 1 year, please.
You have been St. Louis in your whole life, Danny.
I have.
And a Blues fan your whole life.
Long time and passionate.
Long time working for the Blues and
yes,
with the Blues.
Yep. You know why I felt good about Game 6, by the way?
Why?
because on Saturday, I believe it was the anniversary of the Pierre Turgeon goal in overtime of Game 7 against the Phoenix Coyotes. I said that's a good omen. That's good. The Cardinals are going to get a little better today, and it came up short. But the Blues, now that's a good omen.
So I find it interesting that as a baseball broadcaster,
yes, sir,
you are about the statistics and reality and the
yes,
and not about the superstition. But yet, as a hockey fan,
oh yeah,
you go that way.
I'm a fan.
Right.
Well, I'm a fan up here, too. I can't say that I'm not. Hold that thought. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Steak and Shake, get 4 meals with 4 items, $4, $444. Get more for 4 only at Steak and Shake. I'm not going to lie, it's been tough. I'm emotionally invested.
Yes. It's been a great run, though, hasn't it, since January? I don't think I've missed many minutes since January. And I've learned a lot about hockey, and I have certainly enjoyed what the Blues have done. More to go.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. I miss the coverage. No disrespect to others that cover the games, but I miss our local coverage of John Kelly and Darren Pang. John does an amazing job on the games.
I may or may not have watched them in a couple of games while a Cardinal game was going on simultaneously.
You want to say that again?
I said I may or may not have.
Wait a minute.
I'm leaving it open.
So you had the day off, the night off, and the Blues and the Cardinals are playing at the same time, and you decided not to watch our telecast of Cardinal baseball.
Maybe.
Ricky.
I'm
2-2.
I'm just glad I didn't say something like, and there's a long one to left, and it's a goal.
Well, you can use it. Wainwright had the kick save and a beauty the other day. Sometimes you see it go through the 5-hole.
Right, we say that.
Here's a 2-2. Chopped up the middle. And DeYoung out by a half step. And there's 2 away. Excuse me, Goldschmidt out by a half step, and here comes DeYoung. Steve Yzerman scoring against John Casey. That was a tough night for me emotionally, I'll admit it. When Gretzky left St. Louis, that was tough. The President's Trophy team that came up short. Owen Nolan scored from about mid-ice against Roman Turek. I wasn't real pleased that night.
Starting to feel your pain a little.
As DeYoung lifts it into right field, and there's Harper. The top of the lineup coming up for the Phils. And that's a 9-pitch inning. McCutchen, Segura, Harper due up. Stevens compensation involving Brendan Shanahan. The day Bernie Federko gone. Hull never re-signed.
You haven't stopped going over this through the whole break, did you?
Anyway, go get him tomorrow night. Please. There's a strike. Brian Shapiro, our producer, wants me to check in with Jim Hayes at some point. Brian, when would you like me to do that? After this pitch. And it's 0-2. How about after this at bat from Andrew McCutchen? Will that work, Brian? He said, sure. So, Jim, be on standby.
You know you have a talkback button.
Yeah, I
tired of using it.
You got me on the couch. I don't want to move. It's a therapy session right now for me, talking Blues hockey. And that's hit out of play. You've been very good to me, Rick. Listening.
Well, we're gonna turn all those sorrows into joy tomorrow night. How's that?
I would love it. Here's a 1-2 pitch to McCutchen. Missed on the inside corner, 2-2. The Nats and the Brewers, they're tied 2-2. The Cubs playing Miami tonight, and a 3-2 Chicago lead in the top of the third. Big breaking ball. It's being well pitched on both sides. Velasquez has not allowed a hit, but 3 walks, and Michaelis, first time through the lineup, he's faced the minimum now.
Cincinnati beat the Giants 12-4 after a short bee delay.
Saw that. As in bees. Not raining, not
Nope.
snowing.
Just a bunch of bees.
Okay. How long was the delay?
I didn't see the actual timing of it. Let's see if that's on my MLB app, but that was pretty unique.
We had that somewhere in spring training this year. It was at Port St. Lucie, I believe. The Bees were down the left field line in the bullpen and then made their way to Tim Tebow. He was in left field. It's another full count, this time on McCutchen.
I understand it was an 18-minute delay today.
18 minutes. The 3-2 pitch and a strikeout. Jim Hayes, it is all yours.
Thank you, Dan. Bees can smell fear, you know. The Cardinal bullpen hasn't lacked much this season, but they apparently were missing out on pregame comfort. Not anymore, thanks to Dominic Leone. Leone purchased robes modeled after the Cards' home whites for every member of the bullpen. As Leone told me, I just had to keep the bullpen boys comfy. Leone said he had played with guys who had gotten 1 or 2 robes. He said he thought they'd be perfect for the entire bullpen staff. Everyone got one except Jed Jerko, who they consider part of the bullpen but was overlooked. Leone says Jed's robe has now been ordered. Dan?
I like it.
That's nice.
Bullpen robes. I also like the fact they included Jerko.
That's why wouldn't they? 0 ERA.
First ever strikeout. He's part of the crew.
He earned it.
2 balls and 1 strike on Gene Segura. Anybody ever do anything for you and your bullpen mates?
We never got robes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did see in the clubhouse, John Gant was sitting there watching TV next to Andrew Miller, and he's in this beautiful white robe. I did not see the the name and the number on it, but well, that's interesting. But you never know. Wanted comfort.
I did get a watch from one of my co-relievers, a guy named Bruce Suter, because he broke the save record.
Nice.
He bought us all watches.
Nice.
Still have it.
I would keep that.
Of course. Maybe better than a rope. Just saying.
May 7th, that's tomorrow. 20,000 fans, 16 and older, take home a unique Cardinals t-shirt courtesy of StubHub. Features Paul Goldschmidt. Voting opportunities and future t-shirt giveaways. Cardinals.com/t-shirt. And where is that watch?
It is in my dresser.
So you're saying it's just not good enough to wear, is what you're telling Bruce.
Sorry I brought it up.
And I know Bruce is watching. There's Harper lined into a double play, first time up.
And more boos for Bryce Harper when he came to the plate. I understand he got some boos in Philadelphia. And for anybody who's played in Philadelphia, that's par for the course.
It's a matter of time.
First time I was in Philly, they were booing Mike Schmidt. One of the game's best third basemen ever.
And an icon.
Oh, yeah.
I was there the night. I'm not sure you were with us or not, doing on the radio side, but Jeff Murphy was the longtime bullpen catcher and went out in J.D. Drew's jersey for the pregame and batting practice. As J.D. had remembered, turned down the Phillies and was really public enemy number 1. And he said, came back in the dugout in the clubhouse after going out and taking fly balls and whatnot. He said, J.D., Good luck.
I'm so glad I'm not you.
Yes. And the 1-2 pitch and a ground ball. That's Carpenter, and that's another out. Connection to the game. Padres have a walk-off grand slam. Hunter Renfroe against Kenley Jansen. Christian Yelich returned to the lineup yesterday against the Mets. And his 15th home run. Third deck at Miller Park. And the Yankees, another one goes down. James Paxton, the 12th player on the injured list. Most by a wide margin in Major League Baseball, 12 players. Here's Marcell Ozuna. There are some on that list making a bunch of money. I mentioned it the other day, Ricky, that it was something like 4 or 5 teams. Their payrolls of the active 25 don't add up to what's on the Yankees injured list.
Yet they're 19-14. And only a couple games behind Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay is the team that has the best record in all of baseball coming into play today. Boy, they've been amazing. Their pitching's good. Very fundamentally sound team of a lot of names maybe you don't know, not household names, but we sure know who Tommy Pham is.
He had a 40-plus on-base streak, which was a Rays record. Hunter Renfroe, we talked about him. Just the 16th player, first Padre ever to launch a pinch hit walk-off grand slam with his team trailing. Here's a 1-2.
We have to believe the hits are going to start coming at some point, because we saw this team, Dan, not a week ago. I mean, 7 days ago. Everybody hitting. I mean, everybody. You looked at the outfield. The reason Harrison Bader wasn't playing, it was because there were 3 outfielders that were red hot. And Goldie was having some good offensive days. DeYoung was on fire, multiple hit games night after night. Yadi swinging the bat. Everybody was swinging the bat well. Now they're kind of all going in the other direction at the same time. And you can say on a given night it's the pitcher. But over the course of a week, that's a harder case to make.
Ozuna 3 for his last 19 against this right-hander. Last 8 games, 244 the average. That's the team average. You say that 244, but then you look at the numbers across baseball. Offense in terms of average way down.
Cardinals
and home runs way up.
Yeah, Cardinals still 3rd in the National League in average. They were 1st a week ago.
3-2 pitch. Fouled back. Ozuna popped foul, caught by Real Muto his first time up. This will be the 17th pitch that he's seen in 2 plate appearances. 3-2, and Ozuna whacks it out to left, and the catch made. Andrew McCutchen in left puts it away. Play Ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To find a youth organization near you, go to playball.org/playball near you. So 1 out and nobody on. You won't find a bigger Cardinals fan than Wade Forrester. And he recently got engaged to Melissa Alper. They were even congratulated by the Cardinals. So Wade and Melissa, congratulations. Pending nuptials. Here's the 0-1. And she loves Cardinal baseball too, and I think that's the only way that Wade would get engaged. That was part of the deal. Over 400 at home for Jose Martinez as he spins away from that one. And it's 2-1. A big crowd as the Cardinals return home tonight. They got in around 1:32 in the morning from Chicago yesterday. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Big gap in left center for Martinez, and a 3-1 pitch. Inside, it's another walk. And now a quick word from Great Southern Bank.
Emptied your digital wallet? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
4 walks, 1 intentional, and now Yadi Molina sent one to dead center field near the wall, first time up.
Danny, when I first got into broadcasting, I had someone who I respected tell me 2 things you need to know. Number 1, nobody cares what you shot playing golf that day. Number 1. And number 2, nobody cares if the players are tired because they got in late the night before.
Part of the deal.
Now, having said that, I'm interested. What'd you shoot yesterday?
I was up and down. I did not keep a final tally.
Oh, that's what they all say.
Well, when you get beat by your 13-year-old son and your 12-year-old girl, you'd rather just keep it private, Ricky.
So on to the other thing that you're not supposed to talk about. The late night conversation, Dan, is important only because you've got guys trying to compete at the highest level and perform at the highest level. It's not that they don't love their job. They're not happy to do it, happy to come to the ballpark, and grateful that they're big leaguers.
It's a foul ball.
They've got to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And if you're, everybody gets tired. So if you lose 5% of your visual acuity or your reaction time, you're out. That's it. So that's the challenge for a big leaguer, is to stay sharp with your timing with the life of playing every day across 3 time zones. Again, no excuse. It's just something they have to learn to deal with. And if you don't learn to deal with it, you don't make it in the big leagues.
0-2 the count on Yadier Molina. And time called and granted. Martinez looked to be running on the pitch. I thought Mike Schilt may, in this at bat, hit and run.
It's a good combination to do it with.
Molina does not strike out very often, so he'll put the ball in play. However you miss, it's a strike him out, throw him out double play probably.
0-2's not really a great hit and run count.
No. Not running, pitch taken outside. Molina only 2 strikeouts this year with runners on base when he's at the plate. And there it is, the lowest put away rate. And Yadier Molina in the top 4. The emphasis of putting the ball in play. Talked to John Mozeliak today specifically about that. I said, what do you think your theory is on number 1, home runs? And he said, well, you get paid to hit home runs. And that's just kind of industry wide. So you're going to see that across the board. However, at the big league level and in the minor leagues, we are teaching and preaching contact. He said, we'll see if it works out. John also talked about getting in late last night, and he felt that the vibe on the plane was really good, even though they lost 4 straight.
I was there, and
the Cubs.
I was pleasantly surprised by it, Dan. I was on that flight, and I could not believe how positive everybody was, and I think that's a good thing. Do they know they lost to the Cubs? Yes. Was it a bad game? Absolutely. But you've got to keep your confidence and just kind of turn the page as quickly as you can.
And from his point of view, he said, you know, there are times, he said, I've been on a million of those flights where you get on it and
better not talk.
Guys are down. The vibe is upset, down. And he said, you know, I'd like to think when we've seen teams like how they reacted last night, it's the sign of a good team.
Well, I think it starts with the guy we were just looking at, Mike Schilt, too.
And he mentioned that, too. He said Mike exudes confidence. And he said the thing that really separates Mike from others right now, I said, are you surprised by, you know, at 100 games, he had the best winning percentage in the National League last week in Washington. And he said, no. He said, the thing I know about Mike is attention to detail. He said there is no stone that goes unturned, and he and his staff were here at 11:30 this morning getting ready for the game plan for tonight. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Yadi Molina. Runner goes, and the 2-2 smoked out to deep left field. Hits at the wall, gone! Home run! Yadi fell behind 0-2, and then he makes it 2-0.
Well, this is a hit and run that turns into a hit and trot because Molina smokes it 95 straight as an arrow into the left field bleachers. And the Cardinals pick up their first hit against Velasquez. And it was a very meaningful one. 402 feet, exit velocity over 100. You could feel that coming with Yadi.
First hit in the game for the Cardinals, a 2-run homer. He fouled off 3 pitches with 2 strikes. And then Yadi picks up the home run, his 3rd of the season. He's driven in 25. Here's Colton Wong. He homered in 2 of the 3 games against the Phillies last year.
I have to guess that Yadi probably didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. He's here early at the park most days. And didn't affect his timing in that at-bat one bit. He is such a pro.
3-1 on Colton Wong. And that's a walk. Already 5 issued by Velasquez. Mother's Day, May 12th. 30,000 fans this weekend. 16 and older this Sunday take home a custom Cardinals crossbody bag. Red purse features a gold STL metal logo and new alternate blue lining. Get yours, Cardinals.com/promotions. And you know, you think about the pitch count at 78. Ozuna, 17 pitches he's seen. I mean, a lot of fouled pitches in this lineup by the Cardinals. They've made him work with 5 walks.
It all adds up,
yeah,
and it takes a toll. And when managers talk about certain at-bats in a game and they say, hey, that was a great at-bat, you think, well, wait a minute, he popped out to the catcher. Why was that a great at-bat? Well, it was a great at-bat because he forced him to throw those 11 or 12 pitches, and it does it. I mean, that's a whole inning, almost a whole inning's worth of pitches, and not only does that make the starter labor quicker, but it gets you into their bullpen faster and can help out how the series goes.
He's had games in which he's had 6 walks. Two starts ago, he had 7. So 1 out and a runner at first. That's Colton Wong. Bader at the plate. First pitch to Harrison Bader is a strike. He was intentionally walked first time up. Nothing in 2. Started the runner on 0-2 with Yadi at the plate, and will probably not do so here with Bader against a right-hander. We'll see. Room on the right side of the infield for Bader if he wants to shoot one that way. Pitch number 82 already tonight for Velasquez. Inside corner, and he struck him out. Strikeout number 2 for the right-hander.
Well, he gets the strikeout, but you just get the sense that he's laboring. He's throwing so many pitches, up over 80, and he dots that inside corner at 95, so the velocity's still there, but he is working so hard this inning. It's almost as if that home run by Yadi just kind of took some air out of his tires a little bit, and just not sure how long he is for this game.
30th pitch coming up of the inning from Velasquez. Michael is struck out back in the second. And there's strike 1. Molina now is driven in 24 since April 9th. That's second best in baseball to his teammate Marcell Ozuna. And there they are sitting together. He's hit all 3 home runs at home this season, which he did not do a year ago. Remember?
Right.
Majority of the home runs, 80% of them, I believe, were on the road. And Michaelis pops it up to the right side and out of play.
You know, this high pitch count, Dan, makes me think about how, we know that shutouts in complete games are a thing of the past. There won't be any more Cy Young years, and there won't be even Bob Gibson type years in terms of shutouts. But I wonder if the game is even moving further than that, to where we're going to have a hard time getting quality starts. I mean, quality starts when it first came out was thought, well, wait a minute, that's just 6 innings. Why is that quality? But now those are getting harder and harder to get because of pitch counts.
The strikeout of Michaelis, but the Cardinals strike first in this game. With 2 strikes, a 2-run homer, the 3rd of the year for Yadi Molina. And it's 2-0 as we head to inning number 5. Look at Mike Schilt, and we check in with Jim.
Yeah, you guys were talking about how Mike kind of sets the tone for how the team deals with adversity. He told me he wasn't happy about the Cards' recent losing skid, but not overly concerned about it. He told me, you know what I'd be discouraged about? If we had a group that wasn't talented, if we had a group that didn't have winning habits, if we had a group that wasn't committed to competing and preparation. The reality is we don't have that group. I know what this team's all about, Dan. Mike said his team was frustrated, but he tries to keep things in perspective, and he really believes in this ball club.
Yeah, and he also talked about in his office Carlos Martinez, who had an appearance at Peoria yesterday trying to come back. It was only 6 pitches to get 3 outs and looked good. He was asked specifically about Martinez's velocity.
Right.
And he said, I'm not overly concerned about that. He goes, I don't expect a guy in their career to be throwing 98 to 100 every single time out. But we liked in what we saw and what we heard. So Martinez will have a couple of more appearances at Peoria. Then they'll bump him up to either double or AAA, and then he'll be here. But a few more appearances before he gets here.
And he said with Carlos, you've got movement, you've got the great slider, you've got the plus changeup. So he has enough weapons that he doesn't need to have 98.
And a strikeout of Hoskins. That's number 4 tonight for Miles Mikolas.
Hoskins had a very good year last year, but he did strike out 150 times. So you're going to get some power numbers from him. He was 4th in the Rookie of the Year balloting 2 seasons ago. He came on and had just a terrific second half, but the strikeouts are a part of his game.
Welcome to baseball in 2019.
He fits right in, doesn't he?
You were talking about complete games before our commercial break. Right now, a total of 7 have been recorded in Major League Baseball through roughly a month and, say, a week and a half, 2 weeks.
They're outliers.
Oh, what a play down at third by Carpenter. Hanging breaking ball, lined into his glove for out number 2.
Wow. I'm not sure which was more eye-popping, the swing and the hard-hit ball by Real Muto, or the reactions of Carpenter. That ball smoked, and Carpenter had a perfect leap and very good hands to make that play. Wow. I'm guessing that was 107.
I'm going 104. That is 12 retired in a row by Mikolas.
We are told by the truck it was 106, so I was closer to the pin.
Just don't play my kids. Avery and Luke, take your money. Here is Herrera. Struck out back in the second. Good curveball. And it's 0-2.
Pitching and defense go together. You got a good pace today from Miles Mikolas, mixing his curveball, which is sharper than I've seen it in his last few starts. Working quickly, throwing strikes, pitch count fairly low, and the defense has responded behind it.
And that is a 9-pitch inning again for Miles Mikolas. 67 on the night. 5. Cornhole is coming up, and you can get those tickets. JasonMottFoundation.org/cornhole, all to fight cancer. And tonight is Cancer Night here at the ballpark. And Rick, a few years ago, I met a young man named Johnny that has since passed away, and he had the chance to throw out the first pitch. You know, on this Cancer Night, makes me think of him, his parents, Kimberly and John. And Johnny had a twin brother, Jack. And they have a great event, and it's later in September. And the foundation, Kids Shouldn't Have Cancer Foundation, and that's also their website, kidsshouldn'thavecancer.org. And his quote before he passed, "I don't want any other kid to have cancer." And so his name and his life lives on through the foundation. So they have an event coming up in late September, and find out more at that website and be a part of it. Here's Carpenter at the plate, the 2-1 pitch. There are only, in terms of the National Cancer Institute, only 4% of funds go to pediatric cancer, so 100% of those funds that night will help childhood cancer and beat it. And the 3-1 is lifted out to deep center. It's at the wall. It is gone! Just snuck over the wall. 3-0 Cardinals, and their second home run tonight.
Well, we thought Carp was close. That one just had a different sound, Dan. The crack of the bat You could tell he got it on the fat part of the bat and gave it a long ride. Way to go, Matt Carpenter.
And Goldschmidt lines it into right center for a base hit. Just over the glove of Cesar Hernandez. So back-to-back hits here in the bottom of the fifth. Going back to last night, the Cardinals' last 4 hits prior to that single, home runs. Homered late in the ballgame against the Cubs. And another mound visit with Paul DeJong at the plate.
This is Chris Young, the pitching coach, not Chris Young, the pitcher in the
tall
big
Chris
leagues.
Young.
Not tall Chris. This is, I don't want to call him less tall Chris Young, but
Chris Young, the tall guy, was what, 6'10"?
Yeah, I'll say.
And he's now working for the Players Association.
And this Chris Young, longtime minor leaguer, and he's in charge of this pitching staff. That will be better than a season ago. They've got a couple of former Cardinals in their bullpen, and we'll see them eventually, I would think, in this series. Pat Neshek and Juan Nicasio, who did a great job for the Cardinals.
He was with Seattle last year. Here's DeJong, and that's ball 1. Paul DeJong with some gaudy numbers here at Busch Stadium. Tonight he has walked and also flied to right field. And takes a strike there. So Paul DeJong, the Kubota power stats at home this year. Nearly a 400 average, 13 extra base hits, 16 runs scored, the high OPS. DeJong has actually reached base in every home game this year.
He's a good example of how you can cut down on your strikeouts but not take away from your power. I think that's one of the whole messages that Jeff Albert's been all about, preaching. That came from that where he was in Houston, that kind of teaching.
Out of play. And the 1-2 pitch.
That was a perfect example of a short stroke on a 2-strike pitch. He went straight to the ball. There wasn't a lot of complexity to it. It wasn't a long swing. Doesn't mean he won't strike out in this at bat, but I really do like the improvement and the approach of Paul DeJong.
And he hits it out to deep right center. That's at the wall. Goodbye. Third Cardinal home run. This one with 2 strikes. Yadi's came with 2 strikes. Carpenter sandwiched in between. And it all adds up to a 5-0 St. Louis lead.
And this was a short stroke the other way. There really wasn't much to that swing. It wasn't a long swing at all. It's just bat on ball and the power of DeJong. That short stroke results in an opposite field big fly.
Prior to that pitch, he was hitting .279 this year with 2 strikes. To further your point, in his career, a .180 hitter with 2 strikes. So we're seeing a difference. And the Cardinals with 3 home runs Short stroke by DeYoung. 5-0 lead. Velasquez gone. Edgar Garcia, Ricky, in our Chevy, called to the pen.
And a major league debut, 6'1", 179. He's just 22 years old. He's from the Dominican Republic. And last year he got to AAA by the end of the year, so he is still very, very young. And here he is getting ready to throw his first pitch as a big leaguer.
And it's a strike to Marcell Ozuna. I had mentioned about Velasquez, those numbers, third time through the lineup. Poor numbers continue. Third time through the lineup tonight. He saw 3 batters, solo home run, Carpenter, base hit Goldschmidt, 2-run bomb by DeYoung, and his night is through. Here's an 0-2. Fought off just enough to stay alive.
Well, I think we had the sense that he was running out of gas, Dan, and because he had to work so hard. And you know, it's not just the number of pitches cumulatively, it's how many innings you have to throw them in. If you have a 30-pitch inning, it wears you out. And I think that's what happened to him.
And that is popped up. Long way to go for Harper. Foul territory, and makes a sliding catch. Nice play in foul territory. Out number 1 here in the bottom of the 5th. So it's a different alignment defensively, too.
Nick Williams will be in left field, so Herrera is out. McCutchen moves from left to center. Pitcher will hit in the 6th spot, and Nick Williams, who we saw some last year, and he's kind of one of those guys that got crowded out. They had several other players that were kind of mainstays in the Phillies system that when they went out and got new players, those guys are gone.
Carlos Santana comes to mind.
Altair, the outfielder.
Here is Jose Martinez, and a rare 2-walk night for him. And a base hit. Off the glove of Franco and into left field. So he's on base for the 3rd time. StatCast AI, powered by AWS.
There's a great look from the side of Yadi's weight transfer to generate the power to hit the ball that far. 402 feet.
Carp was 402 as well, and then you had 419 feet off the bat of DeYoung, and that's going the other way
with a short stroke.
Great power. And there's a strike to Yadier Molina.
So hard to convince a player, especially a young player, that you don't have to swing as hard as you can to hit the ball out of a ballpark. And you know, you watch Javier Baez swing, and I mean, I get worn out watching him swing. He's a tremendous player, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'd love to have Javier Baez. I mean, put him somewhere, anywhere. I don't care. He's a great player, and I enjoy watching him. But he airs out every swing.
Molina to left and a base hit. 5th Cardinal hit here in the 5th inning. Plate coverage, up, down, in, out. He went down to get this one.
Always been a good low ball hitter. There's the weight transfer again, but the hands are back. So he's able to kind of move through the swing with his body going forward, but the hands are back enough to drive the ball. That's something you can see from the mound. When the hitter has the ability to do that, then you say, uh-oh, a lot. Think, wow, he's got it. The last thing you want to hear is this guy really keeps his hands back. I want him moving forward. I want him reacting too soon, then you throw him a changeup. I want him reacting too soon, and then you throw him a cutter in on his hands. But you don't always get what you want.
Mick Jagger here next to me as that ball scoots away and puts a couple of runners in scoring position.
Telling me I get what I need?
No, you get what you want.
This one's overcooked a bit.
Ouch. Off the shin there of Laz Diaz. They're going to play the infield end. Down by 5. A wild pitch charged to Garcia. The line on Velasquez, 4+ innings, 4 hits, 5 runs, walked 5, 1 intentional, and struck out 3. Wong hits it down the right field line. This ball is just foul.
Good look at that drive from Colton Wong. Well, a couple of feet foul.
1-2 the count. Had the honor tonight to MC the police awards banquet here at the ballpark. Many of them receiving tremendous honors and enjoying the game here tonight. We thank them for everything they do for us.
Absolutely.
Lyda Cruson was here. Many of the mainstays, the police department, some unfortunately, God bless their soul, are no longer with us, and we're honored there, and it was emotional for many of those policemen and women. They've done that here at the ballpark, and we thank them for everything they do. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out, runners at second and third. And Wong lifts a fly ball out to left. 1 out. That should be plenty deep to score the run. Martinez hustling in, sliding in. 6-0 Cardinals. Colton Wong with his 17th run batted in. Reminder that Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest, brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Cardinals, and by Missouri Baptist Medical Center. Doctors call it world-class medicine. You'll call it Mobap. Jose Martinez scoring his 3rd run of this second run of this ball game. Intentional pass of Bader. Second time they've done that, and it'll be runners at first and second, and Miles Michaelis the batter.
So all 9 will hit this inning for the Cardinals. You know that is a good occurrence when that happens. Miles Michaelis probably didn't plan on hitting this inning, but thankful that his team has erupted here with 4 runs against Velasquez and now the reliever Garcia making his major league debut.
And strike 1.
Good situational at bat for Colton Wong.
Yes.
He knew all he had to do was get the ball in the outfield somewhere to pick up another run, and he did just that.
Off the plate, 2 balls and 1 strike. With Jim Hayes, Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Beautiful night thus far here at Busch Stadium. And the Cardinals have 6 hits and 6 runs. I don't know, a major league debut and you're trailing 6-0. You're going to put more pressure potentially on young man his debut if he doesn't get Michaelis here. And there's a strike, 3-2. After that, you're facing that potent top of the lineup.
I'm with you. I'm sure the mindset was, let's take a little pressure off of him by having him pitch to a pitcher, and instead of facing Bader with a runner in scoring position. And I guess the gamble is if he walks him.
And Michaelis pops it up to the right side near the Cardinal dugout and out of play. Now, my thinking would be, if you're in a tight game, I understand that.
Right.
But right now it's 6-0. He's making his major league debut. You know, there's reasons why guys are hitting 8th and 9th.
When you're young and you're especially first few games in the big leagues, the more base runners, the worse it is. I mean, the game, it just spins out of control for you.
It's fast, doesn't it?
It sure does. And you're just trying to think. He probably feels like he's given up 15 runs. I mean, that's kind of the feeling you get. And he hasn't.
3-2 pitch. And Michaelis lifts it in the air to McCutchen in right center. Big inning for the Cardinals. 2 last inning, 4 in this inning. Carpenter started it with a solo home run. And then Paul DeYoung, a 2-run homer to right center. It's Dabo Swinney, the head coach of the Clemson Tigers in football. He is friends with Mike Schilt. He actually went and spoke to the Cardinals at spring training. They said it was awesome.
Took batting practice, too. It was a baseball player when he was younger, so he kind of likes wearing that bird on the bat cap that he has. And I think he was kind of feeling like he was part of the game a little bit earlier. And here's why. Matt Carpenter hits the home run. He goes and finds him. How about that?
Awesome.
Special attention. Why not?
And that's hit up the middle and a base hit for Cesar Hernandez. And the first hit for the Phils since back in the first inning. That was Gene Segura, the second batter in the game, and only the second hit allowed by Michaelis. That ends a streak of 13 in a row.
You know, Dabo's Mr. Positive like Mike Schilt is. I wonder if he had a message for Carpenter that he was going to hit a home run or something, and Matt was responding to that.
You never know. Dabo just signed a contract. Could pay him $93 million. And there's a strike to Michael Franco. It's a lot of jack, man.
So that's how he got in the front row? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he could afford it. I'll say that. Even though that pitch is off the plate, I'm in complete agreement with you. The curveball,
yes,
has been much better.
Sharper. He's not rolling.
And the 1-1 pitch instead a check. You ever heard him speak? I saw him receive a couple of coaches awards. And I mean, his speech is just fantastic. A couple of times that I've seen it. How grateful he is, the manner in which it's delivered. I thought after winning the national championship, it was PR 101 on how you conduct yourself in an interview. I mean, they should show it everywhere. His interview on the field and what he did. It was awesome. Ground ball, could be 2 out there. The turn, double play.
Well, our coaches have such a great opportunity to influence, and you know that could be for the bad or for the good. And when the several coaches that I can think of that come to mind over the years and the ones that are currently coaching, you know, you think about young men and women going to play for these great coaches, and you realize they're going to learn more than just about the game itself. I mean, they're going to compete to win. I mean, he's a winner. There's no doubt about that. The man knows how to win, but he's also interested in developing citizens and young men and respect, character, all of that. And there's several coaches like that. He's not obviously the only one that's like that, but I mean, that just makes me feel good about the influence of athletics, or what it can be in our culture. We talk so much about the dark side of it, and the dark side exists. He's probably getting a recruit right now.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Nick Williams at the plate, 2-1, part of the double switch. but the credit he gave to others.
Right.
The players, the coaches.
Well, when you have that opportunity, you can either elevate yourself or elevate somebody else.
The platform that you have and how you use it.
Right. Best thing to do with the platform is give it away.
One impressive dude right there. Two and two the count. And tap foul. You know, Michael is here in this game with all the home runs and get the attention. He still has faced the minimum. Both erased on double plays after the singles. Very good here tonight. Gap in right center for Nick Williams. And a full count. Line foul out of play. This is the first 3-ball count since back in the second inning. And remember, he went to the first 6 hitters. He had 4 3-ball counts, so he's gotten locked in. The 3-2 pitch. Line for a base hit into left. The 11th St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony takes place May 23rd. Honorees include Tom Herr, Jerry Royce, Scott Highmark, and tickets are available now at St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.com, and that's the website for more information. Congratulations to my partner here, Rick Horton, who heads up the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The FCA is going in.
Yeah, so honored to be a part of that, and of course Scott Highmark, a good friend, and we'll be excited about the other inductees, but the St. Louis Fellowship of Christian Athletes have been serving over 50 years in St. Louis, and so kind of them to recognize our work with young coaches and athletes in the St. Louis area.
Congratulations. I tried to get Highmark out of there and have them rescind it.
You did.
Yeah. Didn't work, though.
Such a bad guy, isn't he?
Congratulations to Scotty. So well deserved. My partner on the Billikens games, and really, you think about when he played in spoon ball and the packed crowds that they would have there. 17,000, 18,000 a night.
Scotty could shoot.
Oh, man. Could fill it up. One of the great high school players here, too. That's tap foul, and Erwin Claggett. And that was a fun team. H. Waldman, you had Charlie Spoonhour, who I don't know if I'd want to play for him, but outside of that, he was a lot of fun. I can tell you that. Spoonball was great.
I would love to have played for him.
Oh, talk to Scotty about it.
I'll have to ask about that.
He'd be a little tough. No, Spoon was the best. We miss him. And he loved Cardinals baseball. 1-2 pitch. A little bit low.
I had a moment watching March Madness with Charlie Spoonhour in spring training. Just sitting there watching several games at a time. And that was priceless.
It's fascinating.
I mean, I don't know if I would have had to bid for that for an auction. I mean, I'd have gone pretty high for that.
Oh yeah.
And he was breaking down game after game as we were watching it. It was so much fun.
I'll tell you, having done a lot of games when he was a coach, and then he became my partner on a lot of the Missouri Valley Conference games and SLU games, and so driving home from the various stops, he always ate at Steak and Shake. We couldn't go anywhere else outside of Steak and Shake.
How about that?
And then at about 10:30, his phone would light up with every major coach in the country calling him to ask him if they watched their game. And Charlie would say, no, I had this going on, you know. And
Charlie reminded me of Whitey Herzog some. I mean, in terms of their in-depth knowledge of the game and just being fun to be around.
And funny.
Yes.
And a fly ball into right, backs up Martinez. Makes the catch and no damage done. Coming up in the home half of the sixth, one of the home run hitters tonight, Matt Carpenter. That was back in the fifth. Jose Alvarez into the ball game for the Philadelphia Phillies. Chevy called to the pen, his 13th appearance. They've got two lefties in their pen, and it's Alvarez and also Morgan, another lefty.
Alvarez, a veteran of the American League, several years with the Angels, beginning in 2015. Also played for the Detroit Tigers for a year prior to that. 5'11" lefty. And he will have the top of the order. This is where we were in the 5th inning.
And that was with the starter still in the game, and then hit. Then it was a single and another big fly, as my partner likes to call it.
A big fly. BJC difference maker is another thing I like to call him.
And that knocked out Velasquez as Carpenter swinging a hot bat here the last 3 games. It's his first home run since April 17th. And 6 for his last 13. 0-2 pitch. Taken high.
Like to petition the National League president. I'm not even sure if they have league presidents anymore. We'll just go right to the top. We'll go right to Rob Manfred.
Okay.
Petition that all of the Cardinals games the rest of the year be played at home.
There you go.
Think he'll file that?
Probably not.
Cardinals have played so well at home, 12-4, off to a good start here. And again, this is a good Phillies team. More work to do here tonight, and I think the suggestion is keep swinging it, keep hitting.
So the 2-2. If you were Rob Manfred, what would you change in the game?
You know, I'm actually, I'm even surprising myself with this. I actually like the 3-batter rule. And at first I didn't, but I like the fact that it may turn the game into not having 13 pitchers on a staff. And it may be the more brand of baseball that we were familiar with. You might find pitchers going longer, starting pitchers going longer.
I had said to Mike Schilt, and it's being used in the minor leagues. And so I said, Mike, what are you hearing about it? And he said, some good, some bad. I said, well, really, to me, take some of the strategy out of the game. And he says, no, you're not, you know, you got to look at it a different way, too. He said, yes, that strategy's out, but a new strategy is in.
Yeah, of course.
Which is what you're saying.
Yeah, and the strategy of, and the thing I'm envisioning is you are going to go much more left, right, left, right, left, right with your lineup as teams used to do.
Sure.
Because you're going to be forced to make a decision of going to a left-handed pitcher, maybe say with 2 outs with the game on the line in the 7th inning, realizing that, okay, I want this guy to face Christian Yelich, but Jesus Aguilar is on deck, and if he doesn't get him out, he's going to have to pitch to him also, and maybe Braun after him. So it's going to change the way you look at your bullpen.
That's where Andrew Miller and that signing could be really valuable.
I would agree with that. He's not one of those in and out guys. His stuff works and plays lefty righty. Of course, he can dominate lefties when he's right, but he can go longer than that.
Goldschmidt pulls it foul again. 10 of the last 15 Cardinals have reached base, and that includes the walk moments ago by Matt Carpenter. That was his 600th career walk, and he's the fastest in club history to 600. Outfield straight away and an 0-2 pitch.
You think about the left-handed one-out guys, the loogies. Who's really fond of that? I mean, other than those pitchers themselves and their heirs, because it's a pretty nice job to have for a long time, getting one guy out once a week. What's wrong with developing a changeup to right-handers?
And the strikeout of Goldschmidt. Yeah, Randy Choate made a career of it.
Good for him. All good for him. I'm just saying.
Trevor Miller.
Yeah. It's just not that compelling, I don't think, to the sport. In
our Lou Fuse, this date in history, we're going to tell you about a left-handed pitcher, and I'll give you an update on him too.
I'm intrigued.
And a strike to Paul DeJong.
How long do I have to wait?
Well, I say he's a pitcher. This is going to give it away. And then
he just got it.
Then he just moved to a power-hitting outfielder.
Well, maybe he is a pitcher.
And you're going to have to wait a little longer, maybe. 4-6-3. And you're right. Maybe he is a pitcher. What a tease.
Intrigue. It's
Got
a deep
it.
tease is what that is.
You bet. Today in Cardinals hit presented by the Lou Fuse Automotive Network. See more at Fuse.com. Two of the best throws I've ever seen. And it's Rick Ankiel. Center field picked it up not once but twice. That's presented by the good folks at Lou Fuse. The reaction of Chris Duncan. And I spoke with Rick today. I said, what do you remember about that play that stands out for you? And I thought he might say, well, I had a couple base hits that game, or the throw, or the second one was better because it was longer.
The attention, yeah.
What happened after it, we talk about it a lot. He said, Dan, the thing I remember most is that it was the first time and the last I ever saw Troy Glaus show emotion. He said he actually was emotional. So that is what he remembers. And he also received the baseball from Troy Glaus.
And that's what I remember. I was doing the game, and I recall as Ankiel was coming off the field, I thought, did he just give him the baseball? I mean, you know about the baseball going to guys who hit home runs, etc. But who gives a baseball to an outfielder for a throw? Well, there it is, Mr. Emotion, giving it to Rick Ankiel, who had plenty of emotion, and he should have. That was amazing, the strikes he threw from deep center field.
And that's the first out off the bat of Gene Segura to start play here in the top of the seventh. Segura 1 for 3. And I asked Rick about that too. Where is the baseball? You know, you got your first strikeout, first hit, right, first home run, all that kind of stuff. And he said, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of memorabilia. I think it's within the last couple of years. He said my house got broken into and much of it was stolen. So he does not have that famous baseball from that night. And he had a great comment, though, to follow up. He said, I go, boy, that must really bother you, huh? And he said, not at all. He said, I got the memories. And the memories for me mean more. And the fact that the game is on video, my kids can see it.
Right.
He said, that means more to me. He's got 2 young boys. And I'm sure a lot of fans, as Harper is digging in, curious about his comeback. Here's an 0-1 pitch, and he's still trying. He said physically it's been very, very tough for him, but you know, right now not 100%. He said the flexor strain has been giving him some issues, but he fully intends to continue to try to make it happen. Harper tonight grounded, or rather lined into a double play, and also grounded into the shift.
Here's what Harper gives you. Every time he comes up, you pay attention.
Yep.
And that's going to happen in Philadelphia for 13 years, presumably, where you're going to have a guy that could influence a game pretty quickly.
And that's where a lot of teams are pitching him up and also away. And he has struggled with that. I mean, this is by design. They're going up with him and climbing the ladder, and the numbers bear that out.
And it was too close from the take, too. It's at the top part of the zone. It's actually out of the zone, but he has to protect. And you wouldn't want Bryce Harper, if you're a manager, to get called out looking very often. You want him to swing the bat, and that's just a tough pitch to catch up to. Lefties tend to like it low.
That's strikeout number 5 for Miles Michaelis. Crowd tonight, 38,419, 38419. Rhys Hoskins, a big swing and a foul ball.
You know, the way the game has changed, Danny, and I think it's just evolved into this, is Michaelis with his pitch count at 97, but there was a time where we'd say, wow, the pitcher's having trouble because he was getting the ball up. Well, getting the ball up is an art now. and you need to be able to get the ball up in certain situations.
And a grounder that's fair. The long throw by Carpenter, picked out of the dirt. Paul Goldschmidt, nice pick. We stretch here at the ballpark. 6-0 Cardinals. Cardinals will send out Dakota Hudson tomorrow night. And getting better.
Getting better. Pitch count is getting more manageable for Dakota Hudson. I think the key for him, and I think what he's starting to do, is just trust his stuff. He's got great stuff. His sinker is outstanding. He can keep the ball in the infield, and looks to me that conversation right there tells me that Miles Michaelis is through for the night. 98 pitches for him, 66 of them for strikes. As Schulte is making sure he knows he's appreciated for the work that he did here tonight, and perhaps reasserting himself as the ace of this staff.
Broken bat may drop, and it will not. Catch made by McCutchen. Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. It brings in Jose Martinez. And a strike to Jose Martinez, on base 3 times, 2 runs scored, pair of walks and a single.
Looks like John Brebbia will have the 8th inning. Dan, we're getting very close to a time where we're going to have to see Jordan Hicks. He has not pitched. I believe this would be 7 days in a row if he does not pitch in this game. And if you assume that Brebbia is going to have the 8th and the Cardinals maintain the lead, it'll be interesting to see whether Mike Shildt chooses to use Jordan Hicks just to get some work. There's Brebbia getting loose. He's been so reliable. His strikeouts per 9 are off the charts.
And Hicks stretching out there. So the 1-1. Michael has had 8 innings back on April 20th against the Mets. Flaherty on the 28th against the Reds went 7 innings, and that's it for Miles Michaelis tonight.
I think the hug signifies that.
Yes. Inside, and it's a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You make the statement about reasserting yourself as the ace. That is not to the kind of put down your teammates, because this is not a one versus another type relationship on a starting staff. But I do think it's important to have that guy that's leading the way.
And the 2-2 hit to the right side, backhanded by Hoskins, and the out. Cardinals have hit 3 home runs tonight. You're just joining us. Let's take you through them. 2 strikes on Molina, and Yadi would connect with a 2-run homer. Carpenter a solo shot, and then a 2-run homer 2 batters later off the bat of Paul DeYoung. Molina with 2 hits tonight, 2 for 3. And Yadi serves it out to left, sinking, and a 3-hit night.
Yadi just on fire here tonight. Doesn't exactly get all of this one. Perhaps jammed a little bit for Molina. In on him, and he flares it to left. Not a very good jump by the left fielder. Thought that ball might be caught, but good for Yadi. 3-hit night.
And Colton Wong talked about situational hitting last time up on a pitch that was up in the zone, hit it out to left to drive in a run, and this time he grounds out. We played 7. It's game 1 of the 3-game series. Michaelis was terrific. 6-0. Okay, guys, thanks. John Brebbia, the Chevy called to the pen after 7 innings from Miles Michaelis of shutout baseball, and that's taken low. JT Realmuto at the plate.
There's the double switch. Munoz in right field. He'll bat in the 9th spot. Jose Martinez out. That'll be Brebbia's spot. He's been busy. Game number 17 for Brebbia, and he's been outstanding. I mentioned the high strikeout rate for Brebbia. Brebbia was on the Cardinal leaderboard for most strikeouts. Four of the starting pitchers, and Brebbia was tied with Michaelis before this game for strikeouts. You just don't see that out of a reliever. He did give up the home run to Baez in Chicago on a pitch up and away, and of course several folks have done that before. His Hyundai pitch arsenal: fastball, slider, changeup. Pretty simple, not too many changeups. Mostly fastball, slider.
2-2 the count. Realmuto struck out looking on a 3-2 pitch in the second and lined out to third. Backhanded by DeYoung. He's up, gathers, throws, into strike, and what a play. Like how he popped up and just kept his composure.
Yes, the gathering, what you said, that's perfect description of what he did. This ball's hit hard, and he gets it on the backhand, and there he gets settled. He got settled to make a good throw. He trusted his arm, but he knew he had to have his feet right before he trusted the arm. And he also knew he had time because the ball was hit hard, but that's a nice play by DeYoung. He just keeps getting better and better as a shortstop.
Phil Gosselin will be the pinch hitter for pitcher's spot, and looks at a ball inside. One-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes.
I made a comment about Brebbia on the road trip that he is not only an outstanding competitor as we look at Gosselin's numbers, but Brebbia is about as nice a guy as you're going to want to find.
Short again. This Saturday, 30,000 fans, 16 and older, can stay cool in style. Mystery Performance T-shirt courtesy of Maryville University. You don't know which one you'll get until you go through the turnstiles here at Busch.
So I commented that Brebbia is just the kind of guy you'd want as your next door neighbor. In fact, he's such a nice guy. He'd be the kind of guy that if you went on vacation, he would mow your lawn for you while you were on vacation. So I went and asked him the next day. I said, did I describe you right? Would you agree that you're the kind of guy that would mow somebody's lawn, your neighbors, while they were on vacation? And he said, absolutely. I would be honored to do that. I mean, that's who John Brebbia is. He thought the description was a compliment.
I think he's funny and nice.
No doubt. Oh, he's yeah. Oops.
Well, Cesar Hernandez doesn't. So Hernandez hit by the pitch. Brebbia has been growing his beard since opening day. He shaved on opening day in Milwaukee that morning. And since then, he hasn't touched it. He said he's been a little disappointed with some of the fill-in. But yet, he said, I've learned to groom it and be able to brush in the bare spots.
It's a game of adjustments.
got to adjust, huh? There's a swing and a miss by Franco.
It almost seemed as if Hernandez thought that was on purpose, that there maybe was some history there. He was glaring out a little bit, and Yadi was intervening. I mean, I can't imagine.
He's not trying to hit him 6-0 lead.
I would not think so.
And the 0-1 pitch. And a base hit into right by Franco. Stopping at second will be Hernandez. And it brings in Nick Williams.
Pretty good 8th place hitter in your order when Franco's the guy. He's been a perennial 270 hitter. He gets 20 home runs, 60, 70 RBIs, and now he's in the 8th spot.
And he also leads their team in hits. It's number 36 this year, and we'll talk about it with 2 runners on and 2 outs. Rick, it gives me a moment to tell you about some of the kids at the ballpark tonight. Special Olympics, Missouri and Warren County. They were here tonight, down in the dugout. Tickets, food, drinks. They had a lot of fun. It was great to see them here. I want to make sure they get their just due. Terrific. So 2 outs and 2 on. Also a happy birthday to Gordon Gekko. Oh yeah. Tell me you've seen it.
Of course.
Well, this was his birthday.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't know that.
Somewhere Bud Fox is trying to find a box of cigars. My birthday was in March. You didn't do anything for me.
I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go try to find a box of cigars.
Little chopper. Brebbia off the mound, steps and throws, and makes the play. Phillies strand a couple. They've left 3 on tonight. Cardinals on top. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. And Ramos, the right-hander, is the new pitcher.
Dubre Ramos. We saw him a few times last year.
Jordan Hicks is up. So as you made the point that he hasn't pitched in a while, he's now up and getting loose, and looks like we would see him in the 9th.
Thought it was getting to that time, Danny.
And a high fly ball lifted out to left off the bat of Harrison Bader. And there's 1 away. Reminder that Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And find your Steel dealer at steeldealers.com. And Munoz, his first plate appearance, pops it up on the infield, and the catch is made. So 2 outs in the home half of the 8th. A lot of reasons to catch a Cardinals game, even more reasons to score your tickets at StubHub. Best selection of 100% MLB verified tickets available even after the first pitch. StubHub, official partner of the Cardinals. So Ramos has gotten the first two. And here's Carpenter. Breaking pitch, drops in for a strike. Carpenter tonight twice is grounded out to first, a solo home run in the fifth, his fourth of the year, and also a walk.
Everybody's been on base other than Marcell Ozuna.
One ball and one strike.
I love production like that. You know, I remember some games you were talking about Carpenter carrying the team in Chicago last year, and he would have 6 of the team's 7 RBI. You know, that's fun. I mean, and it's great for Carpenter, great for the team, great if you win, but I love it when things are spread out.
And again, he goes to the gap in left center, but that'll tail, and the catch is made. Also seeing him go to left a little bit more here in the last couple of days. Hicks coming on when we come back. Player of the game, starter Miles Michaelis. This looked like the Michaelis of 2018.
It sure did. Only 3 hits allowed. Didn't walk a batter. Curveball was much better. I believe he's going to talk about that in the post-game sound, how the curveball was the real difference maker for him. Spotted his fastball well also. And a dominant Miles Michaelis. Certainly some good things happening on the offensive side. The 3 home runs, the 4-run 5th inning. But Michaelis truly the star here tonight.
Well, we thought it might be Jordan Hicks. Instead, it's John Brebbia still in the ballgame.
I think it still might be Jordan Hicks at some point. I could see Brebbia getting an out or two. Hicks is backing him up. Last time we saw Hicks was Monday in Washington. So it would be a full week of not pitching if he doesn't get in this game.
Cardinals trying to pick up their first shutout since April 9th. And that ball game, it was a 4-0 win over the Dodgers. That's 1-2 now on Andrew McCutchen.
So Brebbia has hit a batter, and then this. Maybe I don't want him coming over and mowing my lawn.
And a base hit past the diving pole to Young and into left field. May 10th, this Friday, add to your bobblehead collection an exclusive double bobblehead celebrating 2 of the best to play the game, Yadi Molina and Roberto Clemente. Celebration of Yadi taking home the Clemente Award. 30,000 fans 16 and older take home that double bobblehead, and it's courtesy of Coca-Cola and Walmart. So McCutchen, a leadoff hit here in the 9th, and now Gene Segura. Base hit to right back in the first inning, and twice is grounded out to Colton Wong. Lines it into center. Bader will make the catch. The one right at you in center. Those are tough. Ooh. And Mike Schill will go to his pen. 6-run lead, 1 out. Hicks needs some work, and if Tony La Russa is watching right now, he's nodding in approval. Chevy called to the pen. This could be a fun matchup here. You've got Jordan Hicks against Bryce Harper.
It's worth the price of admission right here.
Harper tonight is hitless, lined into a double play. Cardinals have turned 2 tonight, grounded into the shift and struck out back in the 7th. That pitch taken for a ball.
It was actually in the strike zone. I'm not sure that Las Diaz saw it.
If Diaz misses strikes, they're usually low like that. He doesn't miss many. He's pretty good.
I would agree.
And the 1-0 pitch.
Oh,
wow. Look at the movement there.
Sharp slider. Downward break. Harper missed it by a foot, literally.
And the 1-1 pitch. Got it again. Watching both dugouts, by the way, and even though it's a 6-0 deficit in the ninth, all the players are watching intently with this matchup. That's Jake Arrieta there, former Cub.
Every player's a player first, but they're a fan second.
And the 1-2 pitch, Hicks taken low, 100 on the gun, 2-2.
21 fastest pitches registered in 2019 belong to the man on the mound.
And the 2-2 pitch. Spoiled. 101. So the fastball's above 100. 876 since his debut last year. Most in baseball. It's way over half his total. And the 2-2 pitch to Harper. Well, that's two strikes that he didn't get.
Both of them in the zone and both low, as you mentioned. So much movement for Hicks. I mean, I'll give him some credit. He's a hard guy to call balls and strikes with. Really is.
Yeah. 3-2. Struck him out. Slider.
Boy, that was fun watching that. So the umpire has to call where is the ball as it crosses the front of the plate. That slider doesn't matter. He swung at it, but on the fastball, it's going 100 miles an hour, and you have to judge where that ball is when it crosses the front of the plate. Good luck.
Yep.
Especially if it's moving.
Now Hoskins 0 for 3, flied to right, called out on strikes, and also grounded out to third as Yadi works on the equipment. Jamie Pogue is the bullpen catcher, and I've asked him, I said, how tough is it to catch Hicks? And he said, well, it's really not as bad as you think. He said the worst part is playing catch when he's in front of the mound to get loose. As pitchers will do that, just kind of play catch. He said, you think you're playing catch and there's boom right at your chest and you have no time to react. That's Jamie Pogue there.
So there are a couple of bullpen catchers. I'm sure he's fighting to catch the other guy. We want the lefty, and I got him.
0-1 the count on Rhys Hoskins. 0-2 the count on Hoskins. 1-0-2 on that delivery. And they're on their feet here at Busch. Oh, 0-2 pitch, and did not go. The 1-2. Struck him out. Hicks, back-to-back strikeouts to end the game. And a 6-0 victory in Game 1 for St. Louis.
Well, Hicks was fun in the 9th inning with the nasty slider and the high-octane fastball, but it was Miles Michaelis who made it all work today. 7 solid innings, just 3 hits allowed. Nice win, nice way to start the homestand.
So the losing skid is done. Michaelis was outstanding. Hicks sharp. Bravia sharp. The Cardinals a 6-0 win. Post-game show comes your way next.